I'm not sure when I like consciously made this decision, but at some point in my life, I decided that I never wanted to let anxiety hold me back from doing what I wanted to do. Some of my earliest and clearest memories are of me having panic attacks as a child.
Well, if you don't mind, I might try to see.
I mean, I've had them my whole life. Anxiety has been one of the biggest things that has like shaped me as a person. I'd like to think that it's helped me in a lot of ways to become more empathetic towards people, more caring, but it's also been a complete pain in the ass, and it means that I have lived a lot of my life in a state of fear and anxiety. But at some point, when I was still pretty young, I decided that I was going to do everything in my power to not let it control me. Meaning, no matter how many panic attacks I had, or no matter how scared I would always do the thing that was scaring me. That means having several panic attacks leading up to an audition and still going on the audition. It meant many times of feeling sick to my stomach at parties, not because of alcohol, but because I was just that anxious. I think my ability to do things in spite of anxiety has been one of my like bigger strengths in life. Like my superpower, if you will. And that doesn't mean that I want to live with anxiety forever. I have tried every single healthy coping mechanism or coping skill that I can possibly find, but I've also had periods of time when I have relied on unhealthy coping mechanisms as well. But thankfully I've always had a support system that helps me once I do reach that point. And now I've got it enough under control that I don't reach that point. But today I wanted to share how I don't let that fear stop me, as well as why this has been such a big part of my life. I know I'm not the only one who deals with anxiety and panic attacks and nervousness and fear. I've also never really lost sight of the fact that I do have it a lot better than a lot of people. I have access to resources that a lot of people don't have access to. I have a support system that so many people don't have. But this is such a big part of my life, and damn it, I'm gonna talk about it. So how do I do it? How does anyone not let this shit hold them back? If you have dealt with anxiety or panic attacks, you know that it's not some simple thing. It's not just like, oh, go spend time with friends or get out of bed or it's not simple. And when it comes down to it, the simplest way to put it is I just don't give myself a choice. As long as I know that the thing that I'm going to be doing isn't going to hurt me in the long run, or it isn't going to cause further pain or anything, I force myself to do it. That sounds weird, but I'll explain. When it comes to things like going to social events, taking advantage of an opportunity, or just putting myself out there, I do whatever it takes to make sure that I can do it. That has meant many occasions of showing up at a place for the first time, having a panic attack in the bathroom, having to wait until I calm down from that panic attack so that I can then re-enter whatever space I'm in and then settle into it and then be at the social event or be at the audition or be on set or whatever. Sometimes it means memorizing lines while having a panic attack. Sometimes it is making sure that I have everything that I will need for the next day ready right by my bed within arm's reach, so that if in case I wake up and have a panic attack and don't want to get out of bed, I can literally put on my clothes, put on my makeup. I'll have like whatever I need ready right by so I can get fully ready for whatever the thing that I'm doing is while I'm still in bed, possibly while having a panic attack, so that as soon as the panic attack lets up just the littlest bit, I can run out the door. Because usually getting out the door is the hardest part, and once I'm out the door, I'm fine. But then sometimes I'll show up to a party and have a panic attack immediately in the bathroom. But I just have found that I have to go through the motions of doing whatever I'm doing and just do it. It means being a mess. It means being a mess a lot of the time. But once I'm there and once I'm truly settled in, sometimes the first hour is difficult, but once I'm past that first hour or so, I'm always okay. And that's just what I have to remember. And the leading up to that is just going through the motions. But I often will show up really early to a lot of places, even if it means sitting in my car. Because once I'm at that point where I know I'm close to my destination, I don't have to also be anxious about driving the rest of the way. I can start to kind of settle down. I just make every adjustment possible so that I can still do it. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. It fucking sucks sometimes. And maybe I would have less anxiety if I just didn't do anything that ever put me outside of my comfort zone, but that's not the life I want to live. And also, if I'm being honest, the thing that has helped me the most with my anxiety is constantly conquering my anxiety. It's almost become like this mental game. Like, I often have these moments when I'm sitting there and either an opportunity is coming my way or I have an idea for something and I'll get that feeling in my stomach and I'm like, oh hell no, I do not want to do that. That is terrifying. And then I have to take a deep breath. And then I'm like, shit, that means I have to do it. Like, I just don't give myself a choice. If I feel that pang of anxiety, that's telling me that I need to do something. It's not comfortable to go against what your anxiety is telling you. I'm not gonna say it's easy. I feel like the way I'm explaining it makes it sound like it's this really simple thing, but it's not. Like, when I have panic attacks, I might have one. But most of the time it's not just one. And everyone knows if you've had a panic attack, having just one can knock you out for like a week. Like, it's draining. But mine come in like, it's like waves. So as a kid, having 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in a day was my normal. Before I had the coping skills and the knowledge of it that I do now, I would wake up in the morning in a panic attack and it would just come in waves. And I would have them over and over and over again until my body was just exhausted. And I'm sure there are still ways in which it holds me back, which is why I'm always getting help and I'm always working towards the next step with it. But when it comes down to it, if I had always let my anxiety stop me, I would not have taken advantage of a single good opportunity that came my way. I would not have done the things that I've done in my life. I would not have had the fulfilling experiences that I've had. I wouldn't have the friends that I have. I wouldn't have the boyfriend that I have. Every amazing experience in my life has come as a direct result of me saying, fuck you, to my anxiety. And it has gotten easier. Every single time I do something that forces me to step out of my comfort zone, it gets easier. And it's worth it pretty much every time. Because even if I roll out of bed after having 3 panic attacks before an audition, just to get there and not maybe do my best work and not book it, I still did it. I still had an experience that day that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So in summary, it's not easy to live with anxiety or to just say no to the fear and to just go do the thing despite having panic attacks. It's never that easy, but it's always worth it. And sometimes the anxiety wins, and that's okay too. You're the only person who knows what your boundaries are, but if you are feeling like those boundaries are stopping you from living the life that you want to live, I invite you to push them a little bit. Eventually, it can be possible to get to that point where you can just do it. You can just force yourself to get out of bed. And I think it's incredibly important that we just continue reminding ourselves as often as we can, what is the life that we want to live? What are our dreams? What are the things that we want to do that might scare us or intimidate us, and why do we want to do them? I hope that this video has not been too all over the place, and I hope that you've been able to follow along, at least somewhat. It's oddly difficult trying to talk about something that's so personal and make it into something that is cohesive and makes sense. I have a hard time thinking in a more like linear fashion. My brain just tends to like ping. So that's fun. But I would love for everyone to kind of sound off in the comments. I mean, what have you done in spite of your anxiety? What has your anxiety stopped you from doing? What do you do to help yourself and to continue moving forward. And if you have made it this far in this video, I just want to take a moment to thank you for taking the time to watch and to listen, and I hope that you are doing well. I do always have to say at this point in the video that if you do enjoy my content, feel free to like and subscribe. It does really help me out. I post a new video every Friday, so I will see you next week.